Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today in deck number 731 we're going to talk about Ragavan, Nimble, Pilferer. Finally gets his own card. This was the monkey token that Carrie Zev put into play. Of course I had to put in Carrie Zev, the original appearance of Ragavan, because it just felt wrong that I wouldn't have it in there. Now, we're kind of focused, but kind of not. So let's actually go back and read about Ragavan. For 1 mana, we get a 2/1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you get a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. Notice it does not say anything. You still got to pay the mana colors, you know. And then it dashes. Now, if I am correct, dash does not get around the commander tax, because it says you may cast this spell for its dash cost, and the commander tax is an additional cost, so it does not subvert that at all. But I mean, there may be times when that is, if Ragavan dies enough. Well, no, it doesn't. It'll still always be cheaper to cast. It just have haste. Anyway, it's a 2/1 commander. You're guaranteed on turn 1, essentially. So, a couple different ways we could go with it. Obviously, I wanted to put Carrie Zev in there. And I had thought a little bit about the whole pirate thing, since they were both pirates. The Brazen Freebooter, Captain Lannery Storm, because all of those deal with kind of treasury stuff. And then Breaches. I'll be honest with you, I kind of stopped the pirate theme after that. So, but let's get into our, as far as ramp, there's not a lot, because everything is pretty low costed. Really low. We've got Wayfarer's Bauble, obviously. I mean, it's so low costed, I don't have a Soul Ring in here. Cold Steel Heart, Hedron Crawler. I consider Treasure Map, because in Commander, this is awesome. It flips into... Is this what I'm thinking of? It flips into... sacking treasure to draw a card. So, it turns into a land. Then, of course, we have the expedition map to find a specific land. Now, we have, a bunch of mountains, but the only specific lands that we might care about getting, maybe a Rogue's Passage or a Field of Ruins, if something is, if there's a Maze of Death out there ruining your day. But what is it? It is good, old-fashioned Voltron. We have a 1-mana commander, and I just want to suit the monkey up and send him out there for some commander damage, right? 21's way easier to deal than 40. Asterisks, provisionally. So, let's look here. You want to do, equipment first. We have the Darksteel Axe. Relic Axe. Well, +1/+1 if it's a warrior. He's not. Team Pennant. A lot of these, you'll notice, are not big splashy equipments. They're just +1s. But I really, really like the Team Pennant, just simply because Vigilance and Haste. Now, granted, it's always going to equip for 3 here. Tormentor's Helm. Here again, I wanted that curve as low as possible. It deals 1 damage. Equip 1, cost 1. Sigh of the Shinobi. It's a free equip cost, Scavenge Blade. I love this cycle of equipment that the first equip is free. It's kind of neat. Trailblazers boots. I don't know why I don't play this in more decks, to be honest with you. This is amazing. We all, even monocolor decks, have non-basic lands. I believe Trailblazer boots are good for the same reason that Blood Moon is good. I mean, it's just, it makes your commander unblockable. We have the Hammer of Ruin. You may destroy target equipment that player controls. Okay. Lightning Spear. Hero's Blade. Sanctuary Blade. Swiftfoot Boots. Forebear's Blade. Now we get into some big ones. Loxodon Warhammer. Sword of Vengeance. Fire Shrieker. Moonsilver Spear. That's right. He stole Avison's spear. And then the big daddy, Argentum Armor. But there's a couple here that I really, really like that I think are Gusarigama. Whenever equipped creature deals damage to a blocking creature, it deals that much damage to each other creature defending player controls. So, if they block, they stand a possibility of just wiping their board. So, then, of course, we have Tenza, Godot's Maul. Because, let's face it, Ragavan is both legendary and red. +3/+3 and trample. Okay. Before we get into the other pomp, I run across the Champion of the Flame as kind of a sidekick, if you will, just because it's for this style deck, it's pretty decent. +2. With my two favorites, of course, Granite Grip. We're playing mono red, and Claws of Valakut, same thing, just has first strike. Cave Sense. Mountain Walk may not be a huge thing. It may be. But I definitely wanted to try it. Brute Force, of course, the red giant growth. Why, Johnny Tyler, the Madcap. The Madcap skills. Frenzied Rage. 2/1 in Menace. Goblin Warpaint. 2/2 in Haste. Now, keep in mind, our commander does not have haste. Naturally. If you dash it, it does. But if you dash it, it goes back at it, Flaming Sword. Reckless Charge. And lastly, Balduvian Horde. So that is it for we're going to pump up Ragavan and get in there. Let's look at some card draw. Of course, we've got that Humble Defector. I like Humble Defector because you can sometimes make a deal. Hey, me and you, we're going to pass this back and forth. Seer Sundial. Now, Tome of Legends is a neat one for this specific commander. When your commander enters the battlefield or attacks, it gets a counter, and then you remove a counter, draw cards. So that's what we're doing, Of course, we have Tormenting Voice and Skull Clamp, because Skull Clamp I didn't put with the rest of the equipment, because let's face it, we put it in there to draw cards. Yeah. Seize the Spoils. The treasure token, whatever, And then Aggressive Mining. Now, Aggressive Mining, very, very risky. But there are times when in this deck, with Argentum Armor is the most expensive card in the deck. And, well, barring any X spells. Do I have X spells? I don't even have X spells. So, that pump up X spell. But now, late game, when this deck is probably going to be out of cards in hand and, don't have any lands to play anyway. Now, granted, Aggressive Mining is probably really good in decks where you have a way to sacrifice it, and this deck does not. So, yeah. It's risky, but you know what? So it's putting all your bets on a 2/1 monkey. A few others. Goblin War Drums is, of course, going to help him not get blocked. Fling, it's obviously going to be very big. Reverberate as kind of a... oh, no, you didn't card. I like reverberating a counterspell. You know, you play something, they counter it, and then you reverberate their counter. Besmirch is just a good card. I like it. Burning Earth. Like I said, we don't have that many non-basics. We have, Smoldering Crater, which we're going to probably cycle away. Teetering Peaks, just because it gives that +2 when it comes in, and then Access Tunnel. But Sirocco. Now, this is an old card. How useful it is, I can tell you my train of thought when Mirage came out about Sirocco. For those listening to the audio, it's a 2-mana, a generic and a red instant. Target player reveals his or her hand. For each blue instant, for each blue instant that player holds, they pay 4 life or discard that card. Now, my first impression of this when Mirage was released is this is a terrible card. Simply because, well, if they had a counterspell in their hand, they'll just counterspell this. However, we play in a very tap-out format. And there are way more blue instants that get played than just counters. I'm going to give it a whirl, kick the tires, see how it performs. Maybe not. And then that brings us to our removal. You know what I'm talking about, red removal? Yeah. Shock, Lightning Bolt, Incinerate, Rift Bolt. I do like the Fiery Cannonade because all but one of our creatures are pirates, you know. I probably need to take a few of those out. The Breaches probably, maybe. I don't know. Pyroclasm. Gets in there. Active Volcano, I didn't have another REB. But destroying a blue permanent for 1 mana is not bad. Crash. Destroy target artifact that can be free if you want it to be by sacking a mountain. And then Pillage. Because, that fits with Ragavan's theme. So that is Ragavan. Right now, the commander is half the price of the whole deck. I had no idea that thing was that expensive. I guess it's seeing play in other formats, but we're going to start a new rose. 731 on the wall. And that is what we have got for today. I do appreciate y'all watching, and y'all let me know what you think. So right now, we're going to go ahead and shuffle and cut.